Hi everyone, I'm Roma and you're on the Dr.Cash channel. Here is the second part of the video dedicated to affiliate marketing via push notifications. And now we're going to look through all the steps of launching a campaign, run first tests, and then see what we can get. I'll tell you right away that this isn't an analysis of a hyper-successful case, but a training video. If anyone notices any inaccuracies, please share your experience in the comments. Let's make this video as useful as possible. Let's go! In the previous video, I talked about push notifications as an easier source of traffic compared to Facebook. Now, let's note that in order to make money on push ads, you need some effort. After all, if everything was so simple, no one would say that push advertising is dead. Okay, here we go. Let's start with choosing a traffic source. In the previous video, we've already got acquainted with the top 3 sources. Now let me just remind you that when choosing a traffic source to work with, you need to pay attention to traffic volume and quality, targeting possibilities, minimum deposit, payment formats, the work of support specialists and managers, and let's add source rules, i.e. what is allowed in it and what is not. In this video we'll work with TacoLoco, as the network has a good reputation and easy campaign settings. As for the offer, we determine it by collecting information. As beginners, we write to the managers of the traffic source and affiliate program for this purpose, asking them to recommend Geos and offers that are converting well now, and that will be easier for us to start with. In our case, we'll work with India. Knowing their target geo, we can see what they are basically driving there with the help of spy tools. In a separate video, we've talked about how to search for creatives in spy tools. Now we will search in the free Spy House. To do this, let's select the target geo, then sort by creation and publication dates. Look at what and how long others have been driving. After gathering information, we should ideally have a list of several geos and offers to test. In our video, we're going to drive traffic to penis enlargement offer on India. To understand which creatives to use, we'll use spy tools and look for approaches that have been using for some time. The goal of the creative is to make people click and follow the link, and it's important to remember that you should never deceive the user to increase clickability. Texts and images shouldn't contradict landing and pre-landing as well as what they say later in the call center. Otherwise, your budget will be wasted for disappointed clicks and deceived users. All this is called misleading. It's important to realize that in push notifications, our creative is in fact the most basic, and in most ad networks it's the only way to target the audience. Therefore, our main task is to create ads that will attract potential buyers. After we've seen what other pop ads look like, we need to test their approaches. You can learn everything about uniquizing found creatives and building new ones in our separate, detailed video. There's also a whole list of neural networks that can already be used to create photo and video creatives. In our example, we are going to test 3 approaches of 3 creatives, specifically focusing on enlargement, potency, and prostatitis, aka the medical approach. In the case of push ads, they consist of a small icon, a larger image, and a headline and message. When making creatives, you should take into account that the images and text should be as clear as possible and arouse the interest of the target audience. It's also necessary to avoid a large number of details. They simply won't be read. As for the text, it should intrigue and entice. Again, examples can be found in spy tools and you need to work on them a little. Also, if we have several lands and pre-lands at our disposal, we take a couple or 3 and test them. It's important that the funnel looks organic, i.e. If the medical approach is on the creative, it should also be on the landing page. Now let's move on to practice. During the preparation of the video, it was divided into two parts. Initially, a CPL offer was chosen and I created 3 campaigns for each approach in my personal cabinet. Next step, I set up tracker. In this case, I used AdsBridge as it offers free 14 days and is also easy to use. First, I set up the affiliate program by selecting dr.cash in Patterns. This is where we copy postback URL link. We need to paste it into the global postback settings. After that, I created a traffic source again by finding TacoLoco in Patterns. Note, in the postback URL field, we need to paste our user ID, which is in the TacoLoco profile settings. Then I added the offer links themselves to the tracker. We have a separate video about how to set up trackers. The principle is similar everywhere. If you want a special video about AdsBridge, write in the comments. In the tracker, I created 9 campaigns, so 3 pieces for each approach. We specify a name and traffic source that is clear to us, and then choose an offer and save it. Further, I prepared 9 creatives, 3 for each approach based on what I saw in Spy Tools. I personally find it easier to come up with the title and text first, and then prepare an icon and image for them. After that, I moved on to creating campaigns in TacoLoco. The interface is simple. First, we specify the name of the campaign, so that we don't have to think long about what kind of campaign it is. Leave the format as push notification. We choose a type of traffic as dating. This is a special type for adult offers. They can only be here. Be careful, otherwise ads won't be passed. In the next field, we specify the link from our tracker. Below we customize capping, the limit of impressions and clicks for one user. TacoLoco gave me advice that when you run a large number of campaigns with one offer, you should set different capping for all of them, so that they can all get an equal amount of traffic. Otherwise, some ads will go forward and some will stay without views. Next, we design our creative, insert prepared texts, and upload images. Just below we specify the name of the button on the creative, add an emoji, and choose the icon display. These elements really increase CTR. Then, select vertical, country, and cost per click. In this field, we choose our bid, as impressions are distributed by auction, and the higher the bid, the more traffic we can get. But you don't need to choose the maximum, as the ad can't become better, but the budget will quickly lower without proper results. It's recommended to choose an average or slightly higher bid. During the campaign, the recommended bid will change depending on the clickability of the ad. Next, we select the language, in our case, Hindi. Just below there is a switch that allows you to enable in-page push traffic. For higher accuracy of analytics, it's better to turn off in-push and run a separate campaign for it. Then we set daily and total budgets for the campaign. The minimum for the daily one is $20. Then, we move on to scheduling of impressions. To do this, we select the desired time zone and geo on which we choose the time. In our case, I focused on the time of the call center with additional hours in the morning and evening. Below you see the buttons that allow you to save a draft campaign or create it. Be aware, at the very bottom there is a checkbox Start Campaign after moderation by default. Thus, I launched 9 campaigns and it would seem that I just had to wait and analyze. But after 5 days the offer was stopped. During this time I managed to notice that 2 ads are well converted and they managed to bring me 18 leads, of which 12 were approved. After a few days it becomes clear that the offer won't be renewed and I decided to take a bold step. From the manager I asked for recommendations on CPA offer and redesigned converting creatives. In the case of the new offer, it also came with a whole bunch of pre-landings and landings. Here again, my manager came to my aid and helped me choose the ones that showed good results. We also have a separate video about how to evaluate pre-landings and why they are needed. As a result, I chose 1 pre-land and 2 lands for tests under each creative. In this case, it was possible to create 1 campaign in dr.cash cabinet and choose 2 lands at once. Traffic between them would be automatically distributed equally, and all statistics could be safely monitored in dr.cash personal cabinet. But in order to monitor statistics in the tracker, I created 4 different campaigns, then set up 4 campaigns in the tracker and launched them in TacoLoco. This time I didn't limit the campaigns by display time, but at night I reduced the bid and changed it during the day to ensure that all campaigns received the same number of impressions. For the test, I allocated 2 lead costs per campaign. That's $12. Ideally, you should count on 2, 3 or even 5 costs to draw any conclusions. Compared to the CPL offer, CPA is noticeably harder. As you can see, a lot of leads go to trash and rejection, but there are some approved ones as well. In our case, land A9 in funnel with the approach aimed at enlargement. There I used porn approach, which gave us 3 leads. That is, they brought $18 with 12 spent on the test. The rest of the campaigns are still on the test, so let's talk about optimization. In our case, we have a positive ROI of 50%. Now let's calculate how much 1 click costs us. To do this, we divide $18 by 3,256 clicks on our ad and get 0.005. In the table, we have a cost per click equal to 0.004. As an optimization, we can lower our bid, drive traffic at 0.003 or 2 and see what happens. We don't have a lot of approved leads, but they all came from Android. We can also try targeting it and also turn off in-page. Note that there are reports on sources and zones, but they are available only for in-page push campaigns and direct click. So we figured out how to run a campaign via push notifications. If you have any questions, write them in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. May the high ROI be with you.